Good day. In this video, we're going to walk you through the process of creating, completing, and then printing out an assessment report. And that assessment report will have risk, and we'll print the HTML assessment report. To get ready for this video, we've created the assessment in advance and pre-populated the answers to make the video shorter. Additionally, instead of doing a complete data protection impact assessment, we just did a consent assessment, which is normally called from the data protection impact assessment. By doing this, we'll make this a much shorter video while transferring over to you the steps necessary to complete an assessment. Okay, let's begin. To complete an assessment, the first thing we have to do is create an instance of one of our assessments. So we go to Definitions for a list of all the definitions in the system. This one has all of our default assessment templates. We'll go to Consent, and we'll say Run New. For the instance name, we'll put Demo Consent Video. And for the purpose of risk, we'll use the CIPL, the CIPL risk template. We have no defaults defined, so we're not going to worry about using defaults. And in a normal case, we would hit OK. But since we already did that, we're just going to hit Cancel. Okay. Now in the background, the workflow engine has created tasks for the appropriate people. If email was selected, it would have sent out emails and notifications. But this is the demo consent module. And I know that all tasks are going to be assigned to admin, and I've logged in as admin. So let's go ahead right now and start looking at some things in the system. First, I want a real quick look at our dashboard. Everything's looking nice here. Then I want to go to Task. I'm going to pull this down, and we have our demo consent video. And that's the task that we want to do. So let's go ahead and look at the first question. How was consent obtained? Now remember, we pre-populated this one, and we have in here consent is obtained from the individual data subject through a website form that clearly describes the purpose of the request for consent and the intended use of the data. The end user is prompted to indicate consent affirmatively by completing the form. Okay. In here it shows us our assessment position and our status. And just if you're curious, in here it's showing this is done, it's not done, it's just because I've already done the information and have the status here. Okay. Once we have this, the Set Risk button is enabled so we can set risk. We've already went through here and we set the risk to the individual to be equal to 106. But as I've said earlier, we use the CIPL model to complete this. So let's take a look at our worksheet and how the risk would have to be entered by you. So if we come in here and we look at this, and one of the things might be unjustifiable collection, I'm going to make that a little bigger. Next time I open this, it's going to save that a little bigger. So bodily harm, seriousness of 5, likely of 3, and a score of 15. I could change the likelihood there to 4, calculate it, now the score went up to 20, or overall 111. And so I've entered values all throughout this. I'm going to set risk. I give the reason. If the data is leak, Leaked or misused. Data indicates we would have risk. Leaked, excuse my typo, and I'm going to go ahead and set the risk. Now, we have a record in the risk table of when this was done, who said it, what the reason was, and we can recreate this risk table for any reason, and we can show it to an auditor on how we came up with this. Additionally, let me set the risk. Additionally, we could attach our risk calculations, a workbook or a spreadsheet that we might have done to calculate risk in the field. So now that this is done, we're going to go ahead and select Done. Oh, 1 minute, excuse me. We're going to go ahead and select Done and save it. So that one's gone. Now, earlier I said that we were just doing a very simple assessment with just the consent module. But let's take a look for a second at what it means to see the assessment position in a DPIA module, complete assessment. Now, this assessment has been running, and it's up to the point of showing the issuing country. Then it'll determine if we need to run the data sovereignty module, and we're all the way down here to consent. Okay, let's go back to our consent module, and the next one we have is if consent has been obtained, how has it been obtained? And our answer here is once consent has been received, it is documented with the output of the customer's written consent, date, time, and limitation period of the consent. This is stored in our CRM system, and the data received is appropriately tagged. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark that one as done as well. Okay. Another interesting thing with the task, the answers, and the question is we've been viewing one question per task and one answer. That was set up that way because in that example, there could be different people assigned to answering the question. But if we look at the standard data protection impact assessment, and we look at what type of PIAA is being collected, the answers are checkboxes. There are multiple answers we could be here. Or if we go to the a system ID, where the task is please identify the system main features, and this is in the data inventory task, again, a much bigger one. Notice that we have text boxes, drop-down lists, date time selectors, and all of these are pre-set up in the templates, and you can do on your own as well. Okay, let's go back to demo consent. So how is consent limited? The answer to this one is consent has been obtained from the data subject, and purpose limitation is implemented with either an external or embedded metadata tag that describes the permissible use of the data. I'll stop reading there. We'll set this one to done and save it. And we have one left, and that is marked with consent. And for our answer, we're going to have data is marked with data subject consent with either an external or embedded meta tag. Let's pull up the risk again. I had put in a value of 9. And right there, we see loss of social trust for inappropriate use, a seriousness of 9, a likelihood of 1, and a score of 9. Okay, nothing's changed. We'll calculate it. Its risk score is 9. And we'll set the risk. And we'll give a reason here because we have a demo. Okay, set the risk. And we're going to go to that question, and we're going to mark it as done. And we're going to save it. Okay, so we just completed this small assessment. So now that we've completed it, we're going to notice that if we go to the run in assessments, it's not there, but it does show up in the closed assessments. Now, after we've done that, and we've added some risk, we can run the HTML assessment report with the risk. We have to go to closed, we run it, then we can view it. Bear with me when I resize my form a little. So right now we're looking at this. It says our risk total is 135. Our risk is in the low to medium range, which is 101 to 200. The report was produced today by myself. And then if we look at the risk summary per task, this is how is consent obtained, and we have a risk summary there of 111. Notice the likelihood is 1, but this is a summary on the internal data spreadsheet. It's not just 1 for the total number. It's just that's the total risk, and that's automatically set to 1 because we're using the SIPL risk calculations. Under documenting consent, there's our risk summary, there's our answer. And then under limiting consent, we have no risk, marked with consent, and I'm just running out of viewing area here. And under marked with consent, we have the answers. And again, we can put headers and footers in. And there you have it. We have completed a risk assessment, in this case for consent. And we're done. That task is done. And remember, that was literally a very small assessment. That was only one module. We can always go in and see, here's a normal data protection impact assessment. We can see the flow, and you can see that consent's right here. It's just one small piece of a larger assessment. All right, everyone, thank you for your time. Sorry to have taken so long, and we hope that you have enjoyed this demonstration of how to create and complete and report on data protection impact assessment with BeyData Librarian.